So I've got Paul doing his own card count here, and I don't know where you normally sit to do it, probably at a desk, but this is what I asked him to do was take his entire student body and break it up according to rank. And then I'm going to show you what we do with it next. Okay, Paul, we've taken a good portion of this is your children's student body, and this is what it looks like, all spread out on the floor in like a graph. You've got, according to belt ranks, so the first line are your new white belts.
Yep.
Then you've got your gold, orange, purple, blue, and something happens here. Let's see if I can get a big wide picture of it. There's our graph. So tell me what this says to you.
That's somewhere in this intermediate, what I would consider the intermediate level, which is the purple, blue, and blue with stripe, that there is a drop-off for some reason. I have some ideas on what that reason might be, but that's kind of the toughest group to keep. And then looking at the advance and having the advance actually be a little bit bigger kind of shows that if we can keep them through that stage, then, and I look at all these students, and these are really, like, these kids are at this level for a long time. So if I can get them through to this stage and keep them through that stage, that they're probably going to be here for a lot longer.
Yeah, I know what this means to me. It means, look, we've got all these new students coming in, and here they just drop off. So if this were a battle plan, if this were our losses and casualties in battle, we could either accept those losses for what they are and just keep going, or we could come up with a different plan there. And I think our plans are physical, mental, emotional, social, maybe spiritual. That we're going to tackle all of those things. We're going to have to educate this group about the upcoming loss of interest or hitting the wall right there. That's kind of where students hit the wall. We have to get these students ready better and get them mentally prepared to endure that part. And then we have to look at what we're teaching and our policies. And, this might even be indicative of where these students fit in the class. Are they still training with the beginning students, or do they have their own classes?
They have their own class,
yeah.
Actually. These intermediates have their own class.
So we'll just have to...
Three levels have their own class.
These
right. Have their own, and these have their own, too.
So that's not the problem. But what the real value of this is, Paul, is doing this once a month. Or, maybe once a quarter, because it may not change very much month to month, but it tells us something in where we need to put our energy. Exactly what needs to be done, we don't know, because so much is contingent on the space and the teachers and your time and your resourcefulness. But looking at where the holes are through this card process, this is just one of 52 weekly counts. We don't always stack them up like this, but every so often we do, because it reveals where we might be best to put our energy. So the card count also tells you how many people are active, how many people are inactive. I'd like to see I'd like to see all of these cards be the dead and quit students. Like, you retain all their cards and you stack them up like this, and you realize, first of all, you can count and attach some resources to each one, $3,000, $3,000, whatever, and get an idea for how much those losses represent. But you could also look at where you're losing people, what levels. This is where we have them now. Where are we losing them, and what can we learn from that? Because it's like a battle. It shifts. It's not always the same. If you have a really hard winter, if you end up doing a lot of advertising and getting a certain age group, a young age group might have different reasons for quitting than teenagers. And you might have adults or more women, or you might implement some new programs. It just takes constant analysis. So that's what you're watching, the part of a weekly card count, and one way to use the cards to determine where the school owner can put his or her energy. So part of this course that you're learning, this course of instruction about these cards, is that you can have all kinds of meetings with your staff. This is the meeting to have, because it directly relates to the service of individual people in your school. Of all the meetings I ever had, of all the sit-downs and go over day planners and do this meeting killed so many birds with one stone, right? Analyzing who's coming, who's not, who's at risk, how many people, where are we dropping them, where are the dead people, and what could we have done in advance so they wouldn't have quit, is there anything? And this 52 weeks a year, that you're going to sit down and go over your student body person by person, and that is micromanagement. It'll never get more than a week crazy out of control because you keep working on it. And